need to talk you through how to edit for black and white a little bit more carefully. We're using the Snapseed app once again. So I'm back to the photo that I talked about in the last video. So I'm going to talk you through a workflow, what to do, what not to do when you're editing for photos. So a lot of people come to these filters and basically do this, or that, or that. Okay, so that's all fine and good, but the problem is that when you use these pre-made filters, you have no control over how much the changes are being made. So instead, we're going to X out of that. I'm going to talk you through how to do it yourself, so you have actual control over the amount and what exactly is going on. So if you go to the pencil, go to your tools up here in the top, tune image. We do want to start with tune image. Actually, let me back up. Let me show you. If we went right to the black and white filter, because there is a black and white tool, not a filter, it's going to put this in black and white. Once again, it's just kind of arbitrarily picking for me how it wants this to look. Okay, so you have presets. It gave me a high contrast one. There is just neutral, bright, etc. Okay, I can do this, but at the same time, I only have brightness, contrast, and grain on here. Okay, there is one other aspect to the black and white filter that I do want to talk through. Color filters. What color filters are is kind of going back to when you would shoot with a camera before digital. So you were shooting with film. So if you wanted to shoot black and white photography, you actually had black and white film in your camera, and you could put colored filters on the front of the lens that would actually make the photo look different. A red filter is going to filter out light differently than an orange filter. Some of these are specifically made to work with landscape, especially with clouds. So you put a green filter on versus a red filter. See, on a red filter, you got all of these areas that are really blown out. Green filter looks great. Okay, blue filter is a little bit too much. But once again, I can put the green filter on and I can, kind of adjust my light and dark a little bit. But that's it. That's the only adjustment I'm making. Okay? If I like this, remember, I can save it. I can make a copy of it. Okay? And then up at the top right corner, I can revert. So if I like that and I want to keep it just in case, that's great. But the better workflow is to always come back here to our tune image up in the top left corner. So from here, I have all these tools. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to desaturate this first. So I'm working it with black and white, but I still have all the information that is from the color. So here I can adjust the lights and darks a little bit. If I want to make it a little less bright, I can add contrast or take it away. Okay, ambiance, even though it's in black and white, it's still actually making a difference, right? So I can play around with that. And then highlights and shadow are still pretty important. If I want to take away or add to highlights, if I want to darken them or lighten them, I can pull highlights out and shadows. I can deepen the shadows or take the shadows away. Okay? So I can do my first round of editing. Maybe as you're looking at it, you say, I don't really want all that contrast. Heavy contrast, light contrast. When we talk about a flat picture, you can kind of see this. It's lost a bit. When you go really far in contrast, it gets kind of almost grainy. Sometimes after you've made the other adjustments, it's good to go back to the first one. Okay, so right now I'm controlling everything. What I'm going to do is add a little bit of a vignette. So remember, the nice part on the vignette tool is that I like using the vignette tool separately because I can move around. So if I want the brighter part, the center part to be here, I can do this and make it bigger so that the darker part's only going to be over to the left of it. So remember, you can go up and down. So I can make it darker. And part of that is now some of that distracting part of the kind of wood chips is over there to the side. Inner brightness for my center, I can darken it or I can lighten it. So I just decide, do I like that or not? So the basic workflow is go to the tune image first and then start adding some of these other things. Obviously you would crop and do all of that as well. But if you want to go back to that black and white photo, and if you want to try any of those color filters, see what it looks like with the green or the blue. It's not going to make as big of a difference now because it was black and white first, but you can still for sure see some things that are happening. Okay, add the vignette, add any of that. You can go back to vintage, but you need to make sure you guys understand this. When you go and add a vintage filter, it is layering this color. So whatever color filter is activated, it might not be obvious. You might still think this is a black and white photo, but it's not 100% black and white anymore. It's added a little bit of another color onto it, whether it's a slight blue or a slight cream or sepia or something. Okay? There's a couple of them that are more true. So beware of adding something like that. So just a reminder, your basic workflow for editing in black and white: start with tune image, get it the way you like it exactly, and then if you want to add a vignette, if you want to go to black and white, just make sure that you're getting it the way you want it to look. Okay, you can add a little bit more, but you can do that with the tune image as well. We just want you to have as much control over it as possible. But let's say that you are doing a landscape. So just real quickly, let's throw that into desaturate. Okay. And I'm not going to do a lot to this right now because I'm actually going to show you, once you desaturate it, how you can use a couple of those filters a little bit more effectively. So we'll start right there. So this photo looks pretty good in black and white mode. I like that a lot. So now we can go to black and white mode. What happens if we do that? Okay, what happens if we do neutral and then now we do some of those color filters? Okay, so remember we talked about adding a mood to a photo. So this is a great example. The sky got much deeper and darker. And the sand, because it's wet, just creates a really interesting contrast to the foam on it. Okay? If that's too much, this one, you can't control the filter. It's the only thing I don't like with this one. So once again, just remember, I could do this into an image. If I want to kind of go back and get rid of some of the brightness, I can add a lot more contrast. I can change the ambiance. See that? Brighter sky, darker sand. So depending on if I'm looking at the sky or the sand. Highlights, I want to keep the highlights. But see, as soon as I pull these away, the highlights on the beach stay. But now the sky is a lot different. And shadows. Okay, so I got pretty close to using that filter. And this way I'm in control. I can totally do it exactly how I want to. Maybe we add a slight vignette to this one. Get that mood again. Maybe we don't make it quite so dark. Lighten it up just a little bit. Remember, you can use rotate to straighten out the rise line. Just beware, because it kind of does it automatically for you right from the start. So I'm going to go back and control it a little bit myself. Save copy. There you go.